It was a quiet day, or so it seemed. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice, Commander Lyra Novak stood at her post in the Artemis Deep Space Monitoring Station, her sharp eyes fixed on the quantum holographic display that illuminated the dimly lit control room. She had seen this moment coming for years, but the stakes had never been higher. A fleet was approaching, alien vessels unlike anything humanity had ever faced. But what they didn't know was that they were walking straight into humanity's greatest trap. In a far-off corner of the galaxy, the Zarian Empire had made a name for itself, conquering world after world with brute force and superior technology. They were arrogant, and they believed Earth was just another unsuspecting planet, ripe for domination. They didn't know how wrong they were. Lyra's mind raced as Colonel James Harrison's voice broke through the quiet hum of the station. "Fleet analysis complete," he said, his voice steady but laced with the same tension that Lyra felt. "Approximately 500 vessels, Zarian Empire signature. Their energy readings suggest weaponry at least 3 centuries ahead of what they think we possess." The smile that tugged at the corners of Lyra's lips was barely perceptible. The Zarians were about to learn a lesson in underestimating their enemies. The truth was, Earth had long surpassed the level of technology the Zarians had assumed they would encounter. For decades, humanity had kept this a secret, hiding their true power while the rest of the galaxy saw them as nothing more than a backward species fumbling with chemical rockets and radio telescopes. As she glanced at the control panel, Lyra addressed the team. "Status of Operation Mirage," she asked, her voice steady. Technical Director Raj Patel, who had been monitoring Earth's planetary camouflage systems, didn't even need to look at his screen to answer. He was already one step ahead. "All surface installations are maintaining 21st century appearances. Approximately 500 vessels, Zarian Empire signature. Our quantum dampening field is in place, presenting exactly the profile we want them to see. The Zarians will never know what hit them." Above the planet, Earth's true defenses remained silent. Hidden military installations, quantum weapons disguised as asteroids, and a network of interplanetary technology, all cloaked in the guise of primitive technology. The Zarians were about to come face to face with the greatest deception in the history of space exploration. And humanity was ready to take its place as the galaxy's most powerful force. "Message from High Command," Lieutenant Diana Wong called out, her voice tinged with anticipation. "Operation Sleeping Giant is authorized. All defense platforms to remain in stealth mode until Phase 3. Lyra nodded, her focus unwavering. The game had begun. What appeared to be chaos on Earth, economic instability, government denial, and confusion, was all part of the plan to keep the Zarians blind to the truth. "Initiate surface protocols," Lyra commanded. With a flick of her hand, the illusion took shape. Governments scrambled to contain panic, and scientists publicly doubted the reality of the alien fleet approaching. The world was in a state of controlled chaos, but beneath the surface, humanity's most powerful weapons were preparing for their moment. "How long until they detect our primitive deep space telescopes picking them up?" Lyra asked Raj, her eyes never leaving the holographic map. 6 hours, he replied, tapping away at the controls. "They'll follow their usual protocol, sending scouts, analyzing our defenses, then launching in overwhelming force. But we'll be ready." Lyra's eyes flicked to the display again as the fleet closed in. The trap was set. The Zarians had no idea that they were about to step into humanity's web, one designed with centuries of careful planning and absolute precision. "We've got this," she whispered under her breath, more to herself than anyone else in the room. Because when it came to the final confrontation, there was only one thing the Zarians needed to know: Earth wasn't just a planet waiting to be conquered. Earth was the lion in the jungle, and it was time to let the galaxy hear its roar. The days leading up to the Zarian fleet's arrival were full of tension. On Earth's surface, no one had the faintest clue of the storm brewing beneath the surface. Governments and institutions carried on as usual, while behind the scenes, the global defense network was primed for the first real test of humanity's greatest secret. Commander Lyra Novak, as always, was calm. Her mind was focused on the operation, but she couldn't help but feel the weight of history pressing against her. Today wasn't just about defeating an invading force. Today was the day humanity's true strength would be revealed to the galaxy. Inside the Artemis Deep Space Monitoring Station, Lyra continued her observation of the alien fleet's approach. The holographic map displayed every movement of the Zarian vessels. The invasion force, numbering approximately 500 ships, had entered the outer edges of the solar system. From the perspective of the Zarians, Earth appeared as little more than a primitive speck, exactly as it had been planned. But beneath the surface, Earth's technological advancements were far beyond what the Zarians had ever imagined. What they thought was a developing civilization was, in reality, a secret empire, an empire that had outgrown the need for chemical rockets and radio telescopes long ago. Lyra's eyes shifted from the display to the crew working tirelessly behind her. "Colonel Harrison," she called, "what's the status on the lead ship?" Colonel James Harrison, the grizzled veteran of numerous covert operations, was standing at his station, eyes scanning a different set of readings. "Lead ship's energy signature is consistent with the type we'd expect from a Zarian command vessel," he reported. "It's massive, at least 3 times the size of any human ship. They're maintaining standard formation. No signs of deviation yet." "Good," Lyra replied, her voice steady. "We can expect them to follow their usual tactics. Send the scout ships, probe the defenses, and then launch the attack," Harrison finished for her. "Yes, we know. But they'll never see what's coming. Not from us." Lyra nodded, her mind already working through the variables. "Prepare all forces for Phase 2. We can't afford any mistakes." Above them, Earth's true defenses remained invisible, each piece of humanity's technological prowess concealed from the Zarians' prying eyes. Hidden missile silos, cloaked weapons platforms orbiting the moon, and quantum weaponry disguised as mundane objects, this was the true face of Earth's might. The Zarians, on the other hand, had only brought their usual overwhelming show of strength, one that they thought would be enough to crush a planet that they still saw as primitive. Hours passed. Earth's military forces, operating in total secrecy, coordinated their movements through the Quantum Consciousness Network, a vast and complex system of neural links that connected soldiers, commanders, and machines into one seamless operation. Through this network, every soldier, pilot, and technician could act as if they were all in the same room, anticipating each other's actions and responding with unmatched speed and precision. Meanwhile, in the command center, General Natalia stood at the helm of the operation. Her face was a mask of calm, but inside, she felt the weight of the decision she had made. She knew the consequences of failure. The Zarians would not simply stop at Earth. They would invade other worlds, one after the other. If humanity couldn't turn the tide here, the galaxy itself might fall under Zarian rule. She glanced over at Lyra, who had remained silent for hours, her focus unwavering. Lyra was not one for speeches or dramatic gestures. She simply made decisions and executed them with ruthless efficiency. That was why General Natalia trusted her more than anyone else in the command chain. "Status of Operation Mirage?" General Natalia asked, the words carrying the weight of the entire operation. "All surface installations are maintaining their 21st century appearance," Raj Patel reported, his voice unshaken. "Their scans won't pick up anything unusual. Everything is set." "Good," Natalia replied. "And the shields?" "Activated. The energy grid is stable. All systems are ready to go," said Raj. "Once we trigger Phase 3, their fleet won't know what hit them." The Zarian fleet had now entered the Kuiper Belt, only a few days away from Earth. The time for subtlety was over. The first phase of the deception had been a success, but now Earth's hidden arsenal would be unleashed. Humanity's greatest weapon was the one the Zarians didn't even know existed, an arsenal capable of turning the tides of war before the first shot was fired. Meanwhile, the surface of Earth was beginning to show the cracks of the plan. News outlets were full of speculation about the approaching fleet. Is it a hoax? Or is Earth really under attack? Some journalists wondered aloud. Governments issued conflicting statements, leaving citizens confused and anxious. To the Zarians, this chaos was just more proof of Earth's backwardness, a planet ripe for their dominance. They were blinded by their own arrogance. But Lyra knew the truth. The chaos was part of the plan, every detail meticulously crafted. As the Zarian scouts moved closer, Earth's hidden quantum supercomputers worked tirelessly, analyzing every aspect of the alien fleet. Patterns of behavior, weaknesses in their shields, the optimal moment for the counterattack, it was all being calculated in real time. "We've got about 6 hours before they make the final approach," Raj said, his fingers flying across the interface. "After that, we'll initiate Phase 3. "Understood," Lyra replied. She turned to Natalia. "It's time." As the Zarian fleet neared, Earth's secret weapons were activated. High in orbit, invisible quantum void generators hummed to life, creating pockets of energy that would soon trap the Zarian fleet. Weapons platforms, once mistaken for debris, powered up, revealing their true purpose. The Zarians, still unaware of the trap that lay ahead, continued their advance with confidence. "All units, prepare for Phase 3, Lyra ordered. "This is it. Let's show them what Earth is really made of." Back at the fleet, the Zarian commanders were confident. They had successfully outmaneuvered every opponent in their path, and Earth was no different. They were about to perform the same routine, scan, analyze, and then launch an overwhelming assault. "General, their systems are still in place," the lead Zarian officer reported. "We've detected no signs of resistance. Their weaponry is primitive, as expected." "Then we move forward," the Zarian general replied with a sneer. "Prepare for full assault. Earth will be ours before the week is out." But then, as the Zarian ships reached their final approach to Earth, everything changed. The First Fleet made the mistake of engaging Earth's defenses. The quantum void generators activated, and the once confident Zarian ships began to disappear, trapped in dimensional bubbles. The moment of realization hit them. The fleet systems failed. What had appeared to be an overwhelming force of invincible ships was now trapped in a network of force fields. The Zarians scrambled to make sense of it, but their arrogance had left them blind to the preparation that humanity had laid in wait for them. "General, it's a trap," a Zarian officer screamed into the comms. "We've been caught." It was too late. Earth's hidden fleet emerged from behind the moon, its quantum weaponry targeting the Zarian ships with precision. What was once an illusion of weakness had become the deadliest weapon in the galaxy. "Commander Novak," General Natalia said, her voice filled with satisfaction. "It's time to send them a message." Lyra nodded. "Message sent. Let them know Earth is no longer a planet to be underestimated." As the Zarian fleet struggled to regain control, Earth's counterattack was relentless. The invasion force was broken, their ships disabled, their weapons ineffective. They had underestimated humanity at every turn, and now they would pay the price. The final blow came swiftly. The Zarian general, realizing his forces were lost, tried to retreat. But Earth's forces, fully synchronized through the quantum consciousness network, surrounded the Zarian fleet from every angle. There was nowhere left to run. "Prepare to surrender, Zarians," Lyra's voice crackled through the comms. "Your conquest ends here." The Zarians, now powerless, had no choice but to comply. As the dust settled, the galaxy would never be the same again. Earth had revealed its true strength, and the Zarian Empire was no more. Humanity had shown the universe that it was no longer a primitive world to be conquered, it was a force to be reckoned with. And as the first peace talks began, Lyra Novak stood at the helm, looking out at the stars. The battle was over, but the real war had only just begun. Earth would no longer be a passive player in the galaxy, it would be a leader, ready to guide the future of the cosmos. As the dust settled over the broken remnants of the Zarian fleet, a silence hung in the void of space, a silence that had been unheard of for centuries. The great Zarian Empire, once a power feared across the galaxy, now lay in ruins, its once proud ships drifting helplessly, their weapons silent, their engines dead. It was a victory unlike any other, a triumph that would echo through the cosmos for millennia to come. Commander Lyra Novak stood in the control room, her gaze fixed on the holographic display of the vast emptiness surrounding them. The once overwhelming threat had been neutralized with precision, a stunning demonstration of humanity's strength and resilience. Earth had sent a message to the universe that could not be ignored. Is it over? General Natalia's voice was tinged with the relief that had finally begun to creep into her thoughts. Not yet, Lyra replied, her voice calm but resolute. This is only the beginning. The war with the Zarians had been won, but the consequences of that victory were far from simple. Earth's defense network had proven itself, but now it would face the challenge of maintaining its newfound position of power in a galaxy full of old enemies and even older alliances. Lyra knew that the diplomatic negotiations that would follow would be just as crucial as the battle itself. Earth had earned its place in the galactic order, but the question remained, would they be able to hold it? Back at Earth's command center, the leaders of the world gathered for a historic moment. The unity that had been forged in the fires of war was undeniable. Countries that had once been divided, who had bickered over borders and resources, now stood together, bound by a common cause. They had fought not only for survival, but for the future of their children and the future of the human race. The war had been brutal, but it had also brought humanity together in a way that no one had ever imagined possible. The wounds from the battle would take time to heal, but there was hope now. There was a chance, one they had never truly believed in until now, that humanity could not only survive, but thrive. The world leaders convened to discuss Earth's future. New treaties would need to be signed, new alliances forged. But this time, the balance of power had shifted. For the first time in history, Earth wasn't just a dot on the galactic map. It was a force, a center of influence, and it was ready to take its place among the stars. As the days passed, the human race began to rebuild. The great cities, once reduced to rubble during the war, were slowly restored. The global economy, though shaken, began to stabilize. Humanity had learned valuable lessons from their victory, the importance of unity, the power of technology, and the true meaning of resilience. But the final message, the one that Lyra had sent to the Zarians in their moment of defeat, had not only been about Earth's strength, it was also a message to the universe. Humanity has stood together, fought as one, Lyra had said over the comms, her voice echoing through the galaxy. And we will do so again, should any force seek to challenge us. We are no longer the underdogs. We are a new force in this universe, and we will protect what is ours. You have been warned. The Zarians, broken and humbled, had no choice but to retreat into the darkness from which they had come. They would live to fight another day, but they knew, deep down, that their empire would never be the same. The once invincible power had been humbled by a race it had considered beneath them. Lyra's words echoed throughout the galaxy, reaching ears that had never listened to Earth before. The Zarians had been the first to feel humanity's wrath, but they wouldn't be the last. The message was clear, Earth would never again bow to anyone. The galaxy would come to understand this truth. Years passed, and the face of the galaxy began to change. Earth, now a dominant power, formed alliances with other civilizations that had once been distant, skeptical, or outright hostile. The scars of war faded, but the lessons learned remained. Humanity's journey into the stars had just begun, and they were ready for whatever came next. Commander Lyra Novak, having played her part in defending her world, became a symbol of Earth's strength. She was no longer just a commander, she was a leader, a voice of reason and resolve. Her name became synonymous with victory, with the courage to stand up for what was right, no matter the odds. As Earth's influence grew, so too did the understanding that peace would not come easily. The galaxy, for all its beauty, was still filled with its dangers, its rivalries, and its power struggles. But Earth had proven that it could face those challenges head-on. The legacy of that first battle would live on in every new generation, in every decision made, and in every mission taken to the farthest reaches of space. Years after the defeat of the Zarians, Earth stood as a shining example of what a united species could accomplish. It had become the heart of a new galactic alliance, one that stretched across star systems, fostering cooperation and peace in a way that had never been possible before. But with this newfound power came the responsibility to protect, to defend, and to lead. Commander Lyra Novak, now a high-ranking diplomat in the Galactic Council, gazed out at the stars from the window of her office. It had been a long journey, one that had tested humanity's very core, but they had come out stronger, wiser, and more unified than ever. The war with the Zarians was a memory now, but its lessons would never be forgotten. Earth had gone from being a fragile, insignificant world in the cosmos to a thriving, powerful civilization, an example of what could happen when a people band together for the common good. And as Lyra looked out into the stars, she knew one thing for certain: Earth's journey was far from over. The universe was vast, and humanity had only begun to explore its secrets. There would be new challenges, new discoveries, and new threats, but Earth would face them, as it always had, together. A new dawn had broken, and humanity stood on the precipice of an even greater future.